So I'm going to kick off today by talking about why on earth do we need an author brand? If we are a self-published or indie published author, why do we need an author brand? So if you've written a book, you're an author. Congratulations. If you've got this far in the journey, massive well done to you. Cheers. Congrats. Um, if you've managed to get your book published either through a self-publishing model or with a hybrid publisher perhaps, or even with a small press publisher, you've told your friends and family all about it, you're really excited, you've posted on your Facebook profile, maybe any other social media platforms that you like to use, and you've told everyone about your great achievement that you've launched your first book. So, time to crack open the champagne and enjoy the fruits of your labours. There's just one thing though. How will potential readers be able to buy your book if they don't know about it? Who is your book for, and how are they going to know that they should be buying it? How will they know it's worth their time and effort to go out and find your book and actually read it? So, why do we need a brand story if we're an author? Who said anything about authors wanting to become brands? And I know that the word brand scares a lot of authors. I know that a lot of authors, as soon as they hear me mention the word brand, they want to run the other way. However, I'm going to try and dispel the myth that brand has to be a scary thing. It does not mean that you are creating a huge corporate conglomerate, nasty brand. So the brand story is the key behind every brand or book. It conveys your messaging, it attracts your ideal reader, and it will ultimately give you the best chance at getting attention for your book. And to sell your book, you're going to need to bring people's attention to it. Your author brand story is ultimately going to provide your potential or your ideal reader with the why they should care about your book. And that's really key, the why they should care that you have written a book that they might want to read. It's going to help your marketing, your messaging, and it will lead to any potential media coverage. Obviously, I'm a publicist. Publicists are primarily concerned with creating that infamous buzz that you hear about and creating media coverage that is going to give you, your book, and you as an author, credibility and authority. But we are proactively making this happen, proactively getting you into the right places, talked about by the right people, those people who you want to read your book. So ultimately, for our marketing, advertising, and PR, the key component that we need to draw the ideal readers to us, to want to read and buy a copy of the book, to want to find out more, the key to that is offering up your unique author brand story. What is the purpose of the brand story? So this might help you to understand what we're really talking about here. When I'm talking about brand story, what on earth do we mean? So it's not enough to say what your book is about. It's not enough to tell people the plot or the characters or the concept or what it helps people with or how it inspires people. And it's not enough to tell them that it's for them, to say, well, it's a children's book or it's a romance. And you may have heard the classic line that people buy from people. Marketers love to say this. But what this means in practice is that readers and audiences will always connect with the human element of the author brand story. So they're connecting with the humanness behind your book. So with the person, the ethos, the culture, or the message, or a combination of all of those things that lie behind the book, as much as they are with the book itself and the content of the book itself. So you might have the best plot ever. You might be writing the best fantasy adventure since Lord of the Rings. But what your readers, if you are an unknown author, what your readers want to connect with is the person, the ethos, the motivation behind why you wrote that book, because they want to be able to understand, to give them a 360-degree view of who you are to have written that book. So your brand is not just about your personality or how friendly you are, and it's really not about how good your book is. For the purposes of talking about the brand behind your book and selling your book, we're not looking at how good the book is. We're not looking at the quality of the book itself. We're looking at how compellingly it's presented to the ideal reader or the audience. So your author brand story wants to tell us, how did you get here, right now, today, having either written a book or books or planning to become an author soon? But we want to know something about, what was the journey that brought you here? What were the key steps you took? The motivations that brought you here? And a great way of doing this, so the way I work with authors on this, is to get them to writing down the passions, the motivations, the circumstances, the things that have happened in your life that brought you to the place where you are now writing a book, whatever you're writing, whether it's fiction or non-fiction, whether it's a book that to serve, to teach, to inspire, or whether it's a book for people to get lost in and enjoy, enjoy for what it is. What brought you to this point that you are now writing that book? What were the passions and motivations? And the idea is, we want you to write this down. And I often say to my authors, my clients, that write it as a stream of consciousness. So this isn't a piece of writing to be judged by an audience. At the creation stage, this is just for you. Say it to the wall, tell it to the cat, record yourself, and so that only you are going to listen back to it. Because as soon as we start writing, often we start self-editing, as you will know as an author. I've got 3 questions here for you to start you off with this process. And the 3 questions are for you to take away with you. Why you? Why here? Why now? And if you can begin by answering those 3 questions, whatever comes up for you, just allowing yourself to write that and treat it like a free writing exercise. Or a stream of consciousness exercise. And that's how we want this to begin, because what we want to do is, we're going to talk about what we're looking for from your story. Once you've created and curated your story that the potential reader is going to be able to connect with.